we didn't have my situation growing up. We were a single mom and 3 kids, and we didn't have a lot. And I started hunting, because I loved it. But then I started realizing the importance of what I was doing, because our protein consumption started going up as I started hunting, and it was because we were putting food in the freezer, whether it was squirrels and rabbits or whitetails or ducks, whatever. But it is a valuable commodity. Let's just say that.
And you don't have to worry about, you know, the meat being bad or anything, and all these recalls on the food, and you don't have that because you know how it was treated. The vegetables you go in the garden,
Yeah,
you can't beat them. Like
yeah,
tomatoes,
right.
that sort of thing. You go to a restaurant and tomatoes are pink at best.
Yeah,
And then they get the what they call the vine ripened ones. And actually,
right.
this on one of my videos talk about, you know, I was cutting some off, I cut them off, and I said, now if I cut this off green and they turn ripe, it's still vine ripened because it's
Right,
still on the vine.
right, right.
Because they pick them all green and let them ripen, and
Yeah,
you can see how they're really pink and stuff. No, mine are completely ripe on the vine before I pick them, and they're completely different color. They're dark red, and
oh yeah,
the flavor's much different because you go to restaurants and they put tomato and you taste it. There's no tomato flavor in them.
yeah, yeah. And there's nothing like that summertime barbecue where you're cooking something really good on the grill, a deer steak or an elk steak. You go out to your garden, you got several ripe tomatoes, you get those out, and that to me that's the when you get to like July, when you're getting really good tomatoes, really good vegetables out of the garden, mating that with some of that precious protein is man, there's nothing better. There's just nothing better. I
Yeah,
always say that's my death row meal. What is your death row meal? Last meal, it would be like backstrap, some tomatoes out of the garden, maybe some green beans out of the garden, maybe some wild morels fried on the side. That would be okay. That would be my that'd be
yeah,
you could send me the happy hunting ground after that, I think.
yeah. It's good food, and then you learn how to cook it. When I first started hunting, one deer would last our family a whole year.
Yeah.
We didn't really know how to cook it or anything else. And, then it started getting a bit more and more. And then one year my freezer was basically full and I shot another deer, and we basically made jerky out of the whole thing. And I think it might have lasted a week and a half. The whole deer
Yeah.
was ate up. I did the back straps and everything went into jerky.
Oh
And
no.
we had a beef brisket marinade that we'd use, get out of
Mm.
Texas someplace, and we'd soak them in that and stick them in the dehydrator. One with the fan in it. It was American Harvester was the brand, but
Yeah.
um, it had the fan in it. And
Okay.
now
Yep.
Cabela's has one with the fan in it, and that works so much better.
Oh yeah.
um,
Oh yeah.
and the kids is like, "Is it ready yet? It's ready yet?" No, it takes more than a couple hours to do it. So as soon as they get ready, we'd pull them off.